Hey, everybody. Welcome into STL Sports Central presented by DraftKings. The crown is yours. And this is Domesticated Gamblers, your home for St. Louis sports gambling talk. I'm Eric Sontag. There is Tito Ulrich. Sean got a text literally just a few minutes ago from his kid's summer camp saying his son is vomiting. So Sean's got to go pick him up. So we're going to be missing Sean this week. Unfortunately, Tito, you got 6 kids. You know how this works, right? Like, things like this are just going to happen.
Oh, absolutely. Things like this happen all the time. I had to take a sick kid to the doctor this morning about a damn ear infection. The kid's got swimmer's ear. Big Wolf, what's going on in the water right here in St. Louis? Big Wolf. I hope he feels better. Take care, Mr. Sharp. We'll hold on the fort for you. And I got enough hot takes. I got enough bets to cover you today, baby.
I love that. I'm also enjoying the Brett Hall poster in the background there. That is fantastic. I'm loving that. It's a nice collector's item. We are recording the show. It's here on Friday, July 18th. So we're going to be breaking down this weekend series with the Cardinals and Diamondbacks. We're going to talk St. Louis City SC as they go for 2 wins in a row on Saturday night against Dallas. We're also going to continue our NFL previews here on Domesticated Gamblers. We're going to be your home for football betting talk on STL Sports Central all season long. And today we're going to talk about season-long player props that we like for quarterbacks, running backs, and wide receivers. DraftKings also has a market for stat leaders where you can bet on who's going to have the most passing yards, most receiving touchdowns, things like that. So we're going to give you plays we like to help you in making your season-long bets and also with your fantasy drafts as you start preparing for those. And then we'll have our best bets here on the show, brought to you by Pretzel Boys. And we want to hear your best bets as well. All you got to do is leave us a comment on this video with your best bet for the weekend. Could be any play from across the world of sports. And if you're the first person to comment and your bet hits, you win a $20 gift card from Pretzel Boys. If the first person loses their bet, then the second commenter will have a chance to win the gift card if they hit their best bet, and so on and so forth. So again, just drop us a comment on this video right now with your best bet for the weekend. Pretzel Boys with 5 locations across the area. Find yours at stlpretzelboys.com. You can also email us anytime at domesticatedgamblers@gmail.com. We are happy to read it here on the show. Also hit the like button. Subscribe to the STL Sports Central YouTube channel. And Domesticated Gamblers is also available on podcast on Apple and Spotify. So Tito, happy Friday, brother. Sounds like you already had some excitement this morning with the swimmer's ear for your child. But what else is going on, man?
Oh no, loving life. School starts in a couple of weeks. We got school supply going on this weekend. Got some time at the pool this weekend. So looking forward to a fun-filled weekend. First weekend that we haven't had anything in a long time. So we're gonna enjoy some time at the pool. We're gonna watch How to Train Your Dragon, the live action version tonight. We're gonna buy it on Apple and we're gonna put the kids in front of the TV and we're gonna take care of business and watch that new what is it? A new movie. So we're excited. I'm excited. Fired up, baby.
I've heard good things about that flick. I think you're going to enjoy it. But let's get into our home team coverage, and it is brought to you by James Carlton with State Farm Insurance. And look, I know you probably don't think much about who your insurance agent is, and for a lot of you, you probably just inherited your agent from your parents. Like, I know that's what my situation was. But as you get a little bit older, you get a little domesticated, you start thinking, like, man, I'm paying way too much for insurance. Or if you get in a spot where you need your agent after filing a claim and you're not happy with the service you get, you're probably like, what am I doing with this guy as my agent? Well, if you've ever been in either of those spots, highly recommend you get a quote from James Carlton with State Farm and consider making the switch. That's what Tito did. That's what I did. And I'm saving over $800 this year with James Carlton. He has over 435 5-star reviews on Google. Here's a review that was just posted this week. It says, James Carlton is professional and kind. He really knows what he's doing and has created and maintained a great team. Beverly and Mackenzie were very friendly and helpful as well. I'm thankful to have someone honest and knowledgeable to handle my insurance. I think that it's well worth mentioning that he cut my rates by almost half of what I was paying previously. I would recommend him to anyone. So, guys, it takes only a few minutes to get a quote. It's super easy, and they do pretty much all the work for you if you end up making the switch. I just cannot recommend James Carlton enough. When you get a quote, mention Domesticated Gamblers or STL Sports Central, and they'll make a donation on your behalf to Mizzou's NIL fund. The phone number, 314-961-4800, or go to carltoninsurance.net. If your insurance costs a leg and an arm, call James Carlton, State Farm. And Tito, let's get started by talking some Cardinals. They come back from the All-Star break to take on the Diamondbacks this weekend, and I think the break came at a good time for the Redbirds. They've been beat up a little bit. They weren't playing very good ball down the stretch, but get a few days off. They come back still very much in the race. Like the division, like that's starting to become very unlikely because now you got two teams that are pretty far ahead of you. Cubs are in first place, a game ahead of the Brewers, who've won 7 in a row now. Cardinals in third place, 6.5 games out. They are now down to plus 1,300 to win the NL Central on DraftKings. So like the division, like pretty much cooked at this point. Tito, have you given up hope on the division at this point?
Hell no. Tito's not going to give up on the division. Those damn Cubbies completely useless by September. So watch out in September. Cardinals are going to make a run. They're going to be buyers at the deadline, hopefully. But I'm a little nervous about the Brew Crew because this Brew Crew, all they do is win. They remind me of the Cardinals of the mid 2000s. All they do, they just reload and reload and reload. So they had a good squad. But I'm still fired up. I like to see Jordan Walker be activated tonight. Hopefully he gets some at bats there in Arizona in that bandbox of a field. So I'm fired up for this weekend. Hopefully they can take care of business, and then they can really beat up on the Rockies early next week, Daddy.
Yeah, that's going to be a must to beat up on the Rockies for 3. I think the most likely path to the playoffs at this point, it's got to be the wild card. The Padres hold the last wild card spot. Giants are a half game back, but the Cardinals are just a game and a half behind San Diego. So like it or not, I know there's a lot of debate with whether it's buy or sell. We're not really going to talk much about that because this is a gambling show. And that doesn't really have to do much with gambling. But the Cardinals' odds to make the playoffs in DraftKings, the no is still a strong favorite, minus 280. The yes, they will make the playoffs is plus 225. The season win total, Sean and I bet the over 75.5 before the season started. That is still looking really, really good. The live season win total you can bet right now on DraftKings is 84.5. And I think that's what we've been saying much of the last couple months is this is probably an above high 500 team. They're really just going to have to get hot if they want to make the playoffs. But I would take 84 wins if you told me before the season. We're getting some entertainment. They're still in the race. And tonight it is going to be the first of 3 in Arizona with Andre Palante up against Brandon Pfaadt. Saturday, it's Sonny Gray against Ryan Nelson. And on Sunday, it's not Matthew Liberatore. It's Miles Michaelis and Merrill Kelly as your starters. The odds here for Friday, the Diamondbacks are a minus 133 favorite behind Pfaadt. Cardinals are a plus 109 dog, and your total is 9. The series odds, Diamondbacks priced up at minus 140 to win the series. The Cardinals are at plus 110. So, Tito, what's your take on the Cardinals in the series with the Dbacks this weekend?
Yeah, I like the way that Ali constructed the pitching rotation, especially going into Colorado next week. You didn't want to see Miles Michaelis get rocked. It's bad enough you're going to see Eric Fetty probably there in Colorado, so he'll get rocked. He'll get his lights blown up. But this weekend, I'm optimistic. It's 2 similar teams. I'm glad you said Brandon Pfaadt. What a big wolf of how do you spell that name? Pfaadt. That's a complete dumpster fire. What a fraud that guy is. So I'm looking for the Cardinals to at least take care of business tonight. Like the over. Got some good stats to talk about later on in my best bet. It's tied to the Cardinals. So I'm really excited about that. So hopefully they take care of business tonight. I'm always a big fan of the late night West Coast game. So watch How to Train Your Dragon and then turn on the Cardinals and do a little nightcap, Daddy.
Yeah, I love West Coast ball. When you're a domesticated mom or dad, get those kids in bed, open up an ice cold beverage, sit on the couch and watch the Redbirds. Yeah, my initial reaction, I actually think Palante makes a lot of sense here in the opener. Like, I think he's definitely the 3rd best option on the team behind Gray and Liberatore, but starting Palante in the first game here means he's going to pitch the last game in Colorado. And I like that because he keeps the ball down, which right. Obviously is huge at Coors Field. I looked up his ground ball rate. It's 63% for Palante. That is by far the best of the 5 starters. And at first I thought well, why aren't we seeing Liberatore on Sunday? But and you referenced it, Tito. I want no part of Miles Michaelis at Coors Field. I looked it up. He's got 5 games that he's pitched in Colorado in his career. His ERA is over 12. So, like, if
Pretty
you're gonna,
good.
yeah, pretty good. If you're gonna pitch Michaelis, like, I think clearly you'd rather have him pitch in Arizona instead of Colorado. I think it's a debate whether you want him pitching at all, but for just what the staff is at this point, I do think it makes sense have him in Arizona. But for the series this weekend, like, I do think it's a toss-up. I think the Cardinals have the advantage on Saturday with Gray. Diamondbacks have the edge on Sunday with Kelly, who's been quietly, I think, very, very good for the last couple months. Here on Friday, like, I honestly don't like anything here. I just think Palante and Fott are just super inconsistent and tough to figure out. Like, I think my lean would be Cardinals on the money line just because I think it's a 50-50 game. So then, why not take the plus money? Also lean over. I just think there's a decent chance at least one of these pitchers gets blown up. And man, this Diamondbacks offense, very scary. Like, they have 3 all-stars in that lineup with Carroll and Marte and Suarez. I think it's gonna be interesting if Suarez plays tonight. I don't know if you saw he got drilled on the hand in the All-Star game. X-ray is negative, but, like, man, I'm sure he's frustrated getting drilled in the All-Star game. But Arizona ranks 4th in baseball with over 5 runs per game. So dangerous team. But I think the Cardinals can do some damage too, in particular late in the games this weekend. The Diamondbacks bullpen, 27th in baseball with a 4.94 ERA. So don't give up on these games. Don't go to bed early, Tito, if you're getting tired on the couch. Bullpen ERA close to 5. Like, Cardinals could do some damage late. So lean Cardinals in the over tonight, but it's not going to make my card. If you're looking for a prop, I'm curious to hear what yours is. I guess we'll save it for best bets. Ivan Herrera, I don't know if that's where you're going, but for me, that's one that stood out. If you're looking for action tonight to target here on Friday, his return for this lineup, you cannot underestimate it. Herrera over 1.5 hits plus runs plus RBIs. It's at -125. I think the books are kind of sleeping on him a little bit. You're going to see that up closer to -140, I think, here in the next few days, because this dude is just raking. So you don't need to give it away now. But is there anything else that stood out from this game or from this series this weekend for you?
No, we'll save it for best bets. That's not where I'm going with Ivan Herrera. I'm a little pessimistic about this Herrera fella. He gets hurt all the damn time. So stay healthy, Herrera. Come on. And Newbar, stop getting hurt all the damn time and get back into playing shape, Daddy. Let's go.
Yeah, but Herrera, like, when he's out there, he rakes. But you're right, man. He's got to stay on the field. Well, another great way to get some action this weekend is with DraftKings picks. With DraftKings Pick 6, just download that DraftKings Pick 6 app today, and you can cash in on your player prop knowledge. Just select 2 or more players from any sport and choose if they'll have more or less of a stat. So for Friday here, one game I'd be targeting is in Tampa with the Rays and the Orioles. You got the hot weather and 2 pitchers I do not trust in Charlie Morton and Taj Bradley. Definitely recommend fading them. You also got Gunnar Henderson, who's hitting .412 with a home run in 17 at-bats lifetime against Bradley. So look for Gunnar to get off to a strong start here in the second half. Also in Toronto here on Friday, it's the Giants at the Blue Jays. Rafael Devers, very familiar with this ballpark and the opposing pitcher, Chris Bassett. Devers is hitting .471 with 3 home runs in just 17 at-bats off Bassett. So I would target Devers props in this one. Those are the kinds of things you can do on DraftKings Pick 6. It's available in most states, including California, Texas, Georgia, right here in Missouri, and more. New players get $50 in Pick 6 credits instantly on just a $5 entry. So download the DraftKings Pick 6 app and use code STL Sports. That's code STL Sports for new customers to play $5. Get $50 in Pick 6 credits. Better payouts, bigger wins. Only with Pick 6 from DraftKings. The crown is yours.
Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER. Help is available for problem gambling. Call 888-789-7777 or visit ccpg.org in Connecticut. Must be 18 and over. Age and eligibility restrictions vary by jurisdiction. Pick 6 not available everywhere, including New York and Ontario. Void where prohibited. 1 per new customer. Bonus awarded as non-withdrawable Pick 6 credits that expire in 14 days. Limited time offer. See terms at pick6.draftkings.com/promos.
All right, Tito, let's move on to St. Louis City SC. And they actually get a win last weekend, just their second in their last 18 games. And I do want to make sure we talk about this because I'm all about being honest and transparent. I was dead wrong in that game. We were dead wrong in that game. Tito, I don't know if you remember what you said. I'll get there here in just a second. Like, I thought it was a bad line, but, and this is something you got to be aware of. I looked for injury information on Portland. I couldn't find anything. I didn't look hard enough. They had a very key injury that I didn't know about. And City, like watching that game, they were no doubt the better team. They deserved to win. And I lost 4 units on that play, which is about as big as I'll go on a single game bet. Tito, you're the fan perspective. I know you were joking around. You're just flying off the cuff as you do. But like you said on this show, I went back and watched this part. You said like put 18 units on Portland. So like for anyone watching this, do not make bets like that on a single game where there's just a lot of potential variance, and being wrong on one game can erase like months or weeks or potentially like a year of like good work where you were winning and building your bankroll. So I just think the best way to approach this, have a baseline set so you know what your unit size is, and then have like a criteria set so you know what's like the most amount of units that you'll put on a game. Like for me, it's typically 3. I'll occasionally go 4, which is what I did last week, and I paid the price for that. But like, and Tito, you know what I'm saying, right? Like this is a marathon, not a sprint. And we've talked about this. Like, I think you're a good case study for all new gamblers out there. And this is a very common mistake. I know it's one that I've made in the past. When I was inexperienced, I went super heavy on one play. I was wrong and I got crushed. So like, Tito, can we agree? Like no more 18 unit plays. I know you're not recommending that, but we got to be careful with that, with those, what we say, because like, it just, people can really put themselves in trouble going big on one game. So just like your reaction to what happened with this.
That wasn't me last week. That was some AI that you put on the screen. No, I'm totally kidding. Absolutely. Folks, definitely should not be putting 18 units on a regular season play like that. Probably shouldn't be putting 18 units or anything like that on any sort of play. Eric's 1,000% right. Know what your bankroll management is. Know what you're willing to lose in the event that you are wrong. And to the naysayers out there that think that we're some sort of sharps and that we're just going to hit every single one of our plays, and why aren't we rich? Why aren't we filthy rich if all of our plays hit all the time? It's not about that at all. This is entertainment. This is for us to be able to talk with some friends and some fans of the show in regards to what we like and what we don't like. So we're not taking ourselves too seriously here, folks. We're not the end all be alls. We're not multimillionaires. And if we were, that's none of anyone else's business anyway. So, I know this, everyone just take it with a grain of salt, but Eric's 1,000% right. Know what you're willing to bet, know what you're willing to lose. Earlier on in the show, first few shows, I made comments about going to the casino and sweating over a $5 blackjack bet and the dealer making fun of me. So like, that's one of the reasons why I'm not this avid gambler all the time, is because I don't, $5 is a lot to me. So it's not something that I'm comfortable doing on a weekly basis. And so know what you're willing to lose, and don't bet over that, and make sure that you take care of yourself. And if you have any sort of issues, make sure you have support staff there that can help, and there's resources available to you that can definitely help out. So Eric's 1,000%. Know what you're willing to lose, and don't go above that.
I think it's very well said. And I think also, like, I know some people just do one unit like on every single play that they do, and that works for them. I personally, that's not how I like to approach things. Like sometimes you like a play and you're like, I think there's a little bit of an edge here. I'm going to put a unit on it. But sometimes you say what you think is a big edge and you want to hammer that more. So I just think like the sweet spot for your maximum bet, I think it's one of those things, like if you win, you want it to be a nice jolt to your bankroll where you feel like you took good advantage of the edge you saw. But if you lose, you don't want it to crush your bankroll.
Right.
And then like, where you can't recover from it. You want to be in a spot where you can make up what you lost with just a couple good days. The day I lost that 4 units on the city bet, I actually had a winning day because I cashed a 10-1 ticket on Chelsea to win the Club World Cup. So like I also want to mention that, Tito, it's well said, like, who we are as gamblers. We're not saying we're the greatest gamblers in the history of the world, but I know my goal for me is to want to be profitable. And I know that I am profitable because I have my plays put in that Action Network app. I know it sounds like a live read, but it's true. I just think like that's where I track my plays. I had that Chelsea 10-1 ticket put in there a few weeks ago. So like, just make sure you're following me there, Sean there for all our plays, because we put everything there. This is just, one show a week that we talk about. My username is eSontag. I'm up over 27 units overall since starting to track all my plays there late last year. So for me, like, yeah, I'm not rich from that, but I'm winning and I have a good feeling about that and having a lot of fun watching these games. And I think that's what this gambling is really all about, as you were referencing. Sean's on the Action Network app. I was badgering him to get on there. He got on there about a month ago. He's in the green as well. You can find him on the Action Network app at Mr. Sharp 4499. So just definitely highly recommend that app for tracking your own plays and also interacting with other bettors. Just tracking your own plays is just massive. It's so critical. So it's really important that you do that. Action Network is a great way to do that easily. And I know Sean is big on that. I wish he was on the show to talk about it. Maybe we will. I know he always says when you have an edge, you want to hammer it. But I think you got to find the sweet spot of what that biggest bet is going to be, because I think the conversation's different depending on where you're at with your bankroll. Like if you're just starting out like Tito, or even if you've been betting a long time like me, but you're just a pretty average bettor, maybe a little bit above average, you want to be careful what your max bet size is, because you don't want to get in that spot, like I said, where you can't recover from it. But someone like Sean, that he's established a nice size bankroll, he can maybe be a little more aggressive and go heavier, because even if he loses, he's still way ahead. So, anything else to add on that, Tito? I just think that's really important to think about your bankroll management. I think it's like the number one important thing in sports gambling, because you can be a sharp bettor and be wrong or be right more times than when you're wrong. But if you're really wrong on one play and you go heavy, it doesn't matter how good you are, because you fucked up your bankroll management.
Yeah, 1,000%. And Mr. Sharp is right. He only makes large plays. That's where he's built. He's done this for a long time, and he's put himself in a position to where he's not betting every single game. He's not doing what ordinary gamblers do. He's looking for the edge, and he's looking for it, and he's taking care of it. And he's willing to lose a certain amount if his edge is wrong, or if there's something that's not right. But yeah, Eric, you're 1,000% right. Know what your bankroll management is, and don't let anyone else dictate what you're willing to bet. Know what you're willing to lose, and if you're right, if you see an edge, know that there's a chance that you're going to lose, and if you're not, then you're going to have a nice little play that will make you happy, and maybe it'll pay for a vacation, maybe it'll pay for a late night pizza that you're willing to go out and get. So that's what it's all about, folks.
Yep. I think it's very important we talk about that stuff. So appreciate all the insight there. Let's take a quick look at this game on Saturday with City on the road at FC Dallas. Both these teams near the bottom of the Western Conference. City's in 14th place. Dallas just one spot ahead of them in 13th place. Dallas a plus 105 favorite. City plus 220 to win the game. The draw's at plus 260, and your total is 3 with some juice to the over. So Tito, what do you got here?
Dude, this is a big-time game. If we could just get hot, maybe we can turn this baby around. And this is the first step to it. I was doing some checking after the win last week in regards to what our schedule looks like. There's a few games that are up for grabs, but if you can take care of business against some of these lesser opponents that you're right there near the table with, then all of a sudden you start to get on a nice little run. You take care of business down in Houston. That's where they're at this weekend. So
Dallas,
my apologies. So take care of business down in Dallas, and then all of a sudden you get 2 in a row. You get Fall coming in. Maybe he can, light some fires with some of these set piece. He's a taller guy, can finish down around the net on a corner kick, set pieces. So look for that to maybe occur, and then all of a sudden you get a little momentum. You get the City a little bit more excited, and then there's the goal scoring is there. Hartel scoring 2 goals last week. Klauskin, lining up from time to time. The defensive line is still a little sketchy, but hopefully with that City 2 player that they just gave a full-time contract to, that'll kind of solidify the back line. And then this new guy Fall, hopefully he can kind of center that back line, and then we can make some magic, because I'm not giving up hope yet, Daddy. So I know I said a few weeks ago the season was over, but they've made a they made me change my mind after that performance on Sunday night, Daddy.
So plus 220 in the money line. Are you willing to take a shot on that with City here?
I think so. Yeah, I think I'm willing to take a shot, week off. And so go down to Dallas. You got Berkey in net and Hartel coming off a good performance and Leuven playing pretty well in the second half. So I think I would go with City money line, baby.
Man, it is an edge that Dallas played on Wednesday this week. So City did not play midweek. So they have an edge there. I wish I had a drop of Jim Moore saying playoffs, because it's way, way premature to be talking about that. I just want to see progress with this team through the rest of the season. I don't like the side here because I just don't think there's a really good option for picking a winner. City has still just won one road game all year long, that game in LA against the Galaxy. And Dallas, like, incredibly, they have one win at home all season long, which is just crazy to me. I just think the best angle for this game is goals. Again, I think we got a lot of data pointing at a high-scoring game. So this is a bet for me. Cashed on this in the Orlando game a few weeks ago. I'm taking both teams to score and over 2.5 goals. This is a bet that is cashed in 6 of the 7 City games since Critchley took over. It's also cashed in 5 of the last 6 games for Dallas. I'm very confident both teams are going to score here. Like, it's been 13 games in a row that City has not kept a clean sheet. And Dallas, they've given up at least 2 goals in 6 consecutive games. So I think we're going to see a lot of goals here. It's just a 1-unit play for me, but I'm going to take that both teams are scoring over 2.5 goals. You do got to lay minus 140 on DraftKings. A little bit of juice. I'm good with it at minus 140. I would not go higher than that, but this data is pretty overwhelming when you really look at it with these two teams. So that would be the way I would approach it. All right, Tito, we got about a half hour left. So I want to make sure we talk plenty of NFL here. Again, Domesticated Gamblers is going to be your home for football betting talk on STL Sports Central all season long. We have different topics planned out to talk football every single week up until the season starts. And today we're going to talk about season-long player props. We got Dr. Prop here with Tito and me. I love looking at season-long player props and futures. And we're going to be looking at this today for quarterbacks, running backs, and wide receivers. DraftKings also has a market I really like for stat leaders. So you can bet on who's going to have the most receiving yards in the league, the most rushing touchdowns, things like that. So what we're going to do is go through these markets, and we're each going to have one play for you. So I will get us kicked off here just to kind of set the tone here. So we have passing yards, player props for quarterbacks. And just a reminder on where I stand on season-long player props. You're going to hear a lot of unders from me here in this segment, because if you're going to bet an over on a season-long player prop, you better love the over, because we see this all the time in sports. NFL, I think it's the greatest example. It just takes one injury where they miss a couple games or a few games, and your over is done for them. And so for my first play here with passing yards, I'm going to fade Jordan Love. I'm going under 3,600.5 passing yards. He just missed 2 games last season because of injury, and he went under this number. So that's an example right there. That's all it takes. You miss 2 games and you go under. But another reason I really love this, we really saw the Packers become a run-heavy team, especially late last season. They had a bye in week 10. And then after that, Love averaged under 200 yards passing per game the rest of the season. And if you want to throw out the last game of the year where he left with an injury, he still only put up 214 passing yards per game after the bye. So, I just fully expect this team to continue to be run heavy. I'm going to take Jordan Love under 3,600.5 passing yards. I think this has a chance to hit if he stays healthy. And if he misses a game or two, I think it's definitely going under. So, Tito, what do you have picked out for yours?
Yeah, well, first of all, I'm going to hold Mr. Sharp accountable. Damn kid has to get sick. He was supposed to carry me in this segment. I had to do a bunch of damn research by Easy. I'm not a big-time bettor, so I had to do like 18 different stats. I had to look up 18 different things. So I don't know what the hell I'm doing here, folks. I'm a good prop player in baseball, but not in football. Big wolf. But I'll tell you right now, I don't care what Eric says about overs and unders and people getting hurt. I love J.J. McCarthy, Daddy. He was hurt all last year. And when you got Justin Jefferson, who I absolutely love, my son Ben absolutely loves Justin Jefferson. when you got the best wide receiver that you're throwing to, I like the over 3,650 yards and a half for J.J. McCarthy going over the passing yards. I think he's going to light it up. I think they're going to sling the ball around. That coach O'Connell, he loves to sling the rock. So give me the over on J.J. McCarthy. That's minus 115, though, which I don't really necessarily like. I like finding plus money plays, but unfortunately, there wasn't a whole hell of a lot with the props for plus money plays. But I like J.J. McCarthy going over the passing yards that he has on DraftKings.
I'm not a big over guy with season-long props, but if you're going to take one, I actually think that is a really nice one. I'm high on J.J. McCarthy this season as well. So I think Dr. Prop has entered the office. He is here. I like that first one. Not going to bet it myself because I don't think I really want to take any overs, but I have a little bit more of a Vikings angle coming a little bit later in this segment. Passing yards leader, Joe Burrow is the favorite at plus 500. To me, I don't see really any reason to get cute here. Like, I think Burrow's the guy. He was the leader in this category last season by nearly 300 yards.
Wow.
And the four players right behind him in passing yards last season, Jared Goff, Baker Mayfield, Geno Smith, and Sam Darnold. That was your top five in passing yards last season. So I'm not high on any of those guys this season. The last four. So definitely give me Burrow plus 500 to be the passing yards leader here. You got anything in this market, Tito?
Who was Darnold with last year?
Minnesota.
So I'm going to go with J.J. McCarthy with a passing yards leader. That's plus 2,500. So don't give me this sharp, I'm going to go with the favorite plus 500. If you want to win big, bet a little $5, $10 on J.J. McCarthy to be the passing yards leader. I like J.J. McCarthy. A big fan of J.J. McCarthy this year, Daddy. So that's where I'm going.
I'm in lockstep with you on at least liking J.J. McCarthy. And if you're going to do more of a lottery ticket in this market, I think that's a good one to take. I'll have some more lottery tickets coming up here shortly. Next up for quarterbacks, passing touchdown, player props. I hate to say this. I got to go under on Tua. Tua's prop set at 23.5. Yeah. He had it's a low number, but he had 19 last season after playing just 11 games. And if or when this guy gets another concussion, I don't know how much more this dude can take. And there's going to be tons of pressure and scrutiny on the Dolphins, to make sure they're super cautious with him. It's just I don't want to tell anybody how to live their life. But Tua's got his money. I wish he would just call it a career because I'm scared watching this guy play football. I feel like he's the only player out there where I'm nervous watching him play. And just from a football standpoint, it looks like it's going to be a tough season in Miami. The Dolphins win total set at just 7.5. So this could be a lost season for them. And if they're out of it and he gets concussed, they might just call it on Tua for the rest of the year. So I'm going to take Tua under 23.5 touchdown passes. Tito, where are you going?
Another quarterback that I absolutely love, huge fan of, loved his energy last year, loved what he did in the postseason last year. I'm going with Jaden Daniels and going over the 23.5 passing touchdowns. I know it's a little sketchy because of the fact that he runs a lot, but, give me Jaden Daniels with 23.5 going over. That's minus 110 in DraftKings. But I like this Jaden Daniels. I like the makeup of this fella. And when you got Cliff Kingsbury as your offensive coordinator, the sky's the limit for your quarterback, Daddy.
I think Sean would disagree with that one. I always am nervous about, going against Mr. Sharp, but I lean more towards you on this. I actually bet Jaden Daniels last year to be the offensive rookie of the year. Caleb Williams was a pretty heavy favorite, and I cashed in on that play. I can't remember the odds, but I think it was plus 700 or something like that. I believe in this guy. I think he has it. I think he is going to join the list of elite quarterbacks in the NFL. I think last year was just kind of our first glimpse of it as he made the NFC Championship game. Again, not an over guy, but Jaden Daniels definitely high on. The passing touchdown leader of Burrow, again, the favorite here, plus 550. I promise you, Tito, I'm going to be more brave with running backs and wide receivers. I just don't want to stand in Burrow's way here. I just think if he stays healthy, he's the guy. Lamar finished just 2 behind him last season. I saw Lamar's touchdown rate last year was 9%, which is just crazy. 9% of your passes result in a touchdown. So Lamar had 41 passing touchdowns last season. I think that was more of an outlier. But Burrow, in his 3 full healthy seasons, his average is more than 37 touchdown passes per year. So, like, I think it's a pretty good price. Like, I'll take Burrow at plus 550. I promise you that is the last chalk play I will make with those. You got McCarthy here too, or what do you got?
No, I don't got McCarthy, but I got Jaden Daniels, Daddy. So every time I'm going with the passing yards, with the leader, and with the over, I'm going again with touchdowns. I'm going with Jaden Daniels going as a touchdown leader. We got Terry McLaurin. You got Cliff Kingsbury willing to sling it around. I like Jaden Daniels with the leader. That's 2,500. Another lottery ticket play, but I can't disagree with you with Joe Burrow when you got all those weapons and you got got just the Joe Burrow swag that he just possesses. Then it's not typically a sharp play, but I like where your head's at, Daddy.
Yeah, I think anything over plus 500, I'm like, okay, it's not like I'm taking a minus play here. I think it's
right.
Like basically that means, at plus 500 ish, like that's like 20% of the time he's going to lead the NFL in passing touchdowns. I think he's going to do that more often than 20% of the time. Don't love the Daniels play just because I think he runs too much, and we're going to see a lot of those passing touchdowns turn into rushing touchdowns. But no, I definitely high on McCarthy and Daniels with you. I'll let you go first here as we transition to running backs and rushing yards player props. What do you got picked out, Tito?
Yeah, so I was never a big fan of this guy for a long time in Cincinnati. Always felt like he got hurt a ton. Then last year, Tito drafted him as a running back. He was one of my top running backs in our fantasy league. I'm going down to Houston, going with Joe Mixon. I'm going with the over 875.5 rushing yards. That's minus 110. I think this guy with DeMeco Ryan or DeMarco Ryan, or however you say the head coaches down there, it's a run control type of offense with CJ Stroud there. I like them to run the rock a lot more. And I like for Joe Mixon to go over on 875.5 rushing yards this year.
I'm taking an under, and I'm going under on James Conner with Cardinals. It's under 900.5 rushing yards, and this is just fading an aging player coming off a career year. This might be my favorite bets of the ones we're going to talk about. Conner turned 30 a few months ago, and we all know that's a significant age for a running back. He played a career high in games last season with 16. He also had a career high in carries and a career high in rushing yards. But that yardage number was just 1,094. So, like, we don't need that much of a drop off to go under this number. And I'd be very surprised if he stays healthy 2 years in a row. Conner averages just over 13 games per season in his career. So I think it's more likely we see something like that. So I'm on James Conner under 900.5 rushing yards. I really, really like that play. All right, let's get to a couple lottery tickets here. I'm thinking rushing yards leader. Saquon Barkley, pretty big favorite, relatively speaking, at a plus 275. So I'm imagining you're not going chalk here, Tito. So where are you going for this one?
Anytime you can get plus 1,000 with Christian McCaffrey, I'm taking that one all day. So I know he had a rough year last year, being hurt all the time. So I know, you got Shanahan that loves to run the rock, and Brock Purdy likes to, throw it short and likes to run it a little bit more too. He's not this, gunslinger type passing quarterback. So give me Christian McCaffrey being the rushing yards leader at plus 1,000 in DraftKings.
If he stays healthy, is very, very, very much in play. I do think this is a market you want to be more bold in. I'm going to take a shot on the rookie for the Raiders, Ashton Genty, at 18-1. I think is another kid that has it. I think he's an every down player, and we've seen Pete Carroll in the past with Marshawn Lynch. He loves to run the ball. He loves to have a bell cow running back. Genty is like NFL ready. So definitely more of a lottery ticket play than the Burrow plays, but I definitely can see the path here. So just a little taste, small taste on Genty at 18-1. Rushing touchdown player props. Tito, go ahead and go first, brother.
I'm not a big fan of this guy. I'm not a big fan of the Colts. So I'm going under 9.5 rushing touchdowns for Jonathan Taylor. This guy's going to get hurt again. I think he was hurt last year. Maybe not. I'm not sure. But I'm going to go under on 9.5 touchdowns. That's minus 105 at DraftKings.
I definitely want to fade James Cook of the Bills. I'm going under 9.5 rushing touchdowns. Cook led the NFL in rushing touchdowns last season with 16. How about this? The year before that, he had more carries and more yards, but he only had 2 rushing touchdowns in that season. So I just think there's like big time touchdown regression coming here. We know Josh Allen gets a lot of the goal line opportunities. I was looking at stats. This Ray Davis, the backup, is getting a lot more involved for the Bills in the backfield. So I really like James Cook under 9.5 rushing touchdowns. And then the rushing touchdown leader, Derrick Henry, is your favorite at plus 450. I really like a play here. But Tito, I'll let you go first.
Yeah, I'm going to go back to the well. My rushing yards over Joe Mixon. I'm going to go with Joe Mixon to be our rushing touchdowns leader at plus 4,000. Like to see him have another outstanding year as a Texan.
I think we are getting crazy good value here on Josh Jacobs with the Packers at 20-1. So plus 2,000. You don't like that on the surface?
Not on the surface. There's too much running back by committee with Matt LaFleur. So I'm not necessarily a big fan of that. But maybe convince me otherwise.
I'll make my case. So he's the 9th favorite in this market at plus 2,000. He just finished 1 touchdown away from tying for the league lead in this category last season. So like I talked earlier about fading Jordan Love with the Packers being more run heavy. That obviously helps Jacobs in this market. And I looked up the last 9 games last season, including the playoff loss at Philly. Jacobs had a rushing touchdown in every single game, and he had 13 rushing touchdowns in those 9 games.
Wow.
So if he keeps that pace, I'm going to cash his ticket. So definitely love the value here on Jacobs at 20-1. Receiving yards, player props. I'm going under on Chris Olave. It's a low number at 825.5. But I think there's a couple things in favor of this play. I know Sean's talked about this. He feels like this is a nightmare season incoming for the Saints. They probably have the worst quarterback situation in the NFL. So like this offense outside of Kamara is probably like a complete stay away in fantasy for me. And it's scary, but like 2 concussions for Olave last season, knocked him out for the last 9 games. I just think that is something to definitely be concerned about. And he played in the first 8 games. He only had 400 receiving yards anyway. So he's only on pace for about 800 something. So this one stood out to me when I got it or when I saw it. I'm on Chris Olave under 825.5 receiving yards. What you got, Tito?
This guy was a fantasy darling last year. I think he's going to be another fantasy darling this year. We're going down to the desert, Arizona, going with Trey McBride, the tight end that Kyler Murray, that I absolutely love, throws to. And we'll go over 900.5. That's minus 110. I like that value. I think that Trey McBride is going to be someone that they throw the rock to a lot, along with Marvin Harrison Jr. So give me Trey McBride on that over 900.5 receiving yards.
All right, like that. Receiving yards leader, Jamar Chase is the favorite at plus 600. I cannot pass up Justin Jefferson here at 8-1 in this market. He finished second to Chase last season. And Jefferson, he's had 4 full seasons in the NFL. He had 1 year he got hurt, missed a bunch of time. But the 4 seasons he stayed healthy. His lowest receiving yard total was 1,400. And that would have, so his worst season would have finished second in the NFL in receiving yards in 2024. So for his career, Jefferson averages about 9 more receiving yards per game than Chase. And I'm with you, Tito, super high on McCarthy this year. Like if Kevin O'Connell can turn Sam Darnold into a good quarterback, like I think McCarthy can be very, very productive this season. So at plus 800, I think that is a bargain on Jefferson to lead the NFL in receiving yards. What you got here?
Yeah, I would agree with that, but I'm going to go with another lottery ticket here. You heard me reference him just a moment ago. I'm going with Marvin Harrison Jr. plus 4,000. I think Kyler Murray is going to have another outstanding year, and I think they're going to sling the rock a little bit more. They're going to have a little bit more chemistry than they did last year. So another lottery ticket play for Tito, and going with Marvin Harrison Jr. at plus 4,000 as the receiving yards leader, daddy.
All right, couple more receiving touchdown player props. I'm taking DJ Moore under 6.5 receiving touchdowns for the Bears. He went under this number last season with 6, finished with under 1,000 yards. He had a career low yards per catch. So I just don't think he really clicked with Caleb Williams, and it's a crowded room of pass catchers. I mean, I'm really hoping Luther Burden can emerge and do some damage. That would be awesome to see. I think it's too early to tell how involved he's going to be, but just Fantasy Pros this season projects more for just 5.7 touchdowns. So I like the under 6.5 for DJ Moore. Tito, where are you going?
Yeah, I'm going to Denver. I can't stand this Bo Nix fella, and I can't stand Cortland Sutton. So I'm going to go with the under 6.5 touchdowns. That's minus 110, or that's plus 105. I finally found a plus money prop for the NFL, plus 105. I can't stand Sutton. I know he'll probably go over, but I like the under. And I think Bo Nix can't throw the ball further than Tito can throw the ball. I'll tell you that right now.
Yeah, I think Sutton has been due for some touchdown regression as well. I'll give you the honors on the last one, Tito. The receiving touchdown leader, Chase, is also the favorite here at plus 600. So what you got?
Yeah, I'm a big fan. Again, you heard me referencing earlier, Jaden Daniels. Who does he throw the ball to? This guy has it. This guy is an automatic every year. Terry McLaurin. Look at the value. The value is plus 1,200. So I think the value is absolutely obviously there. So I like Terry McLaurin. I think the Commanders have another outstanding season. So give me Terry McLaurin to be the receiving yards leader this year.
Yeah, I love me some scary Terry. This is another lottery ticket play for me, but I really like the value on Drake London at plus 2,000. In his last 3 games of the year when Penix took over for Cousins at quarterback, listen to these stats for London. His average game, 13 targets, 7 catches, and 117 yards. That was his average game in the 3 games with Penix. London also had 2 touchdowns in those 3 games. So London had 9 touchdowns overall last season. I think that can really spike here this season because he's clearly the go-to guy for Penix. So yeah, I'm going to throw a dart on Drake London. Have the most receiving touchdowns in the NFL at 20-1. So I think you got 24 plays right there. Rapid fires. We've been talking about that. Love talking some NFL. Make sure to catch our show next week when Mr. Sharp is back as well. We're going to go through our picks for the player awards like MVP, Offensive Player of the Year, things like that. So Domesticated Gamblers, man, we're going to be your home for football betting talk all season long here on STL Sports Central. All right, now it's time for our best bets presented by Pretzel Boys. And again, this is a chance for you, the viewer, to cash in. All you got to do is drop us a comment on this video with your best bet. Could be from any game this weekend. And if you are the first person to comment and your bet hits, you win a $20 gift card from Pretzel Boys. If the first person loses their bet, then the second commenter will win the gift card if they hit their best bet, etc., etc. So again, leave us a comment on this video right now with your best bet for the weekend. For our best bets last week, Sean and I were losers, but my God, Tito, he just continues to be just absolutely on fire. The winning streak is now up to 5 in a row, all at plus money for Tito. I got to go back and total up how many units you'd be up with these plus money plays. But man, you dove deep. You dove deep into the prop market last week. You pulled, who was it? Caleb Durbin. And it was over 1.5 total bases out of your ass. It was plus 140.
It wasn't out of my ass. Come on. I did a little bit of research.
A lot of research. You dug deep, man. And he cashed in his first at bat of the game for the Brewers. So it's just awesome. I want this to continue as long as it can. So Dr. Prop, that's what we're calling Tito now in this segment, especially. I can now wait to hear this. Sounds like it's a Cardinals related play. So where are you going for your best bet this week?
Yeah, I was gonna go with another play outside of the Cardinals. You referenced Gunnar Henderson in your DraftKings spot, which I really, really think was beneficial. But looking at his stats over the last several weeks, I wasn't enamored with that, with that play. I know he's got good success against the pitcher he's going up against tonight. But I did a little bit more research, and the one that screamed at me this morning, I looked at it last night, and there wasn't anything. So I was all fired up. I was trying to hold DraftKings accountable last night, but finally they had it up this morning. And it's the lone all-star for the Cardinals, Brendan Donovan. This guy is, had a great all-star game itself. He's been awesome the last several weeks. And against Brandon Pfaadt, this guy is 4 for 7, a 556 OBP, 714 slug, 910 OPS over the last 2 weeks. And at Chase Field, folks, I wrote it down. This guy's got an OPS over 1,000. It's this favorite hitting park outside of Busch Stadium with over 30 at bats. So I'm going to go with Brendan Donovan. Another plus money prop here. I mean, they're just giving you money, folks. So I'm going with 2 or more total bases. That's plus 110 at DraftKings. Brendan Donovan over 2.5 or over 2 total bases.
Yeah. So 2 or more total bases at plus 110 for Brendan Donovan. Yeah, I'm looking right at it. I would say for the most part, player props the day after the All-Star break makes me nervous because we don't know what 4 days off have done to these guys. Maybe they've cooled off, but Donovan played Tuesday and had 2 hits. Yeah. So he's still feeling really good. I would not be surprised at all if we see another cash here tonight from Tito as he goes for 6 in a row. My best bet, I'm going Orioles Rays over 9 here on Friday night. We talked about this a couple weeks ago on the show, this minor league ballpark they're playing in down in Tampa. It's hotter than hell down there. We've seen the ball flying out of this park, in particular in the summer. The Rays have played 16 games here since June 1st, and there's been an average of 10.4 runs per game.
Wow.
So you got that, and then you got 2 pitchers I referenced in the DraftKings spot. They have major blow-up potential here. Charlie Morton, a 5.97 ERA on the road this season, and Taj Bradley has a 5.55 ERA at home in that minor league ballpark here in 2025. So my best bet, Orioles Rays over 9 on Friday night at minus 107 on DraftKings. All right, let's finish up with our home team plays of the week. These are our favorite plays in the games involving the local teams. For me, this one is going to be in pocket if I can get it in time. City and FC Dallas, both teams are scoring over 2.5 goals in the game at minus 140. I think we get plenty of goals in this one, but like I said, minus 140 is the highest I would go. I don't like laying a ton of juice on single games like that. Tito, where are you going for yours?
I think I'm going to stay with my best bet. It's another plus money play. It's a pro STO Cardinal play. So I'm just going to take Brendan Donovan, 2 or more total bases. And, again, that's a plus 110 bet with DraftKings.
All right, Tito, we made it time-wise. It was well done. We ripped through this show. And that is going to do it for today. Hit the like button, subscribe to the STL Sports Central YouTube channel, and drop us a comment here with your best bet for a chance to win a $20 gift card to Pretzel Boys. Also, a reminder, you can email us anytime with anything you want to talk about. We're happy to read it and discuss on the show. You can do that at domesticatedgamblers@gmail.com. And most importantly, take just a few minutes. You will not regret this, I promise you. Get a quote from James Carlton with State Farm Insurance. I'm highly confident he'll be able to save you money like he did for me and for Tito. The phone number is 314-961-4800 or go to carltoninsurance.net. You'll see his info in the YouTube description. For Sean out with a vomiting child this afternoon, for Tito, I am Eric. This has been Domesticated Gamblers here on STL Sports Central, presented by DraftKings. The crown is yours. Thanks for being with us, guys, and we will see you next Friday.
And let's cash.